It's ingenious, and blockchain is important, but Bitcoin has no unique value at all. It doesn't produce anything. You stare at it all day, and no little Bitcoins come out or anything like that. It's a delusion, basically.
Warren Buffett says never to invest in Bitcoin. Warren Buffett's anti-Bitcoin stance is well known, and it seems it grows stronger year after year. In 2014, he called the cryptocurrency a mirage and implied that it was a joke. In 2018, he called it rat poison squared and warned that it was a bubble. Then, last year, he said he would not buy all the Bitcoin in the world if it was offered to him for $25. At this point, we doubt Buffett would ever change his mind about Bitcoin. So, in today's video, we will be talking about why Buffett is so anti-Bitcoin. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us as we expose Warren Buffett's reasons why you should never invest in Bitcoin. The Greater Fool Theory. According to the Greater Fool Theory, an investor can earn stellar returns by buying an asset without concern for valuation fundamentals and other important factors. The asset is bought under the assumption that someone else, the proverbial greater fool, will buy it at a higher price. Inasmuch as following the Greater Fool Theory will still generate profit for investors, it would also yield substantial losses. It is this reversal in fortune that is the basis of Warren Buffett's reluctance to invest in Bitcoin. Buffett is a classic value investor who believes in buying assets at less than their intrinsic value, thus making a profit when their market price inevitably rises. In essence, he would buy $1 for 80 cents, because eventually it would rise in price. The problem with Bitcoin is that it is not a productive asset. It does not generate profit through direct value-building processes like rental fees or business operations. Hence, it is difficult, if not impossible, to value it properly. Buying and selling of the digital currency obeys the Greater Fool Theory, which means investors buy Bitcoin under the assumption that someone will pay more for it later. Its price is determined by what investors are willing to pay for it at a given time. The only way to earn value from Bitcoin is to eventually sell it to someone else. Warren Buffett puts this succinctly.
Now, if you told me you owned all of the Bitcoin in the world, and you offered it to me for $25, I wouldn't take it, because what would I do with it? I have to sell it back to you one way or another. I mean, maybe I have the same people, but it isn't going to do anything.
Buffett prefers businesses that have proven themselves over time, consistently generating profits for long periods, and have remained relatively stable despite periods of instability. Insurance companies, banks, energy and utility enterprises, and big brand consumer companies like Apple and Coca-Cola are preferred by the legendary investor to plow in as well. Bitcoin is the complete opposite of these assets. It has no real utility besides being a medium of exchange, and its value is based mostly on hype and popular sentiment. All it would take for its price to spike or drop is a tweet from a couple of celebrities on X. It's got a magic to it, Buffett says, and people have attached magic to a lot of things. Betting against the dollar. During last year's Berkshire Hathaway shareholders meeting, Warren Buffett theorized a Berkshire coin to make an analogy of the futility of crypto investments. Holding up a $20 bill, he said, "Assets, to have value, have to deliver something to somebody, and there's only one currency that's accepted. You can come up with all kinds of things. We can put up Berkshire coins. But in the end, this is money," referring to the $20 in his hand. "And there's no reason in the world why the United States government is going to let Berkshire money replace theirs." With that, Warren Buffett sums up another reason why he would not invest in Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. Essentially, investing in Bitcoin is taking a bet on the upheaval of the global financial system. You're saying that central banks and national economies would either collapse or weaken significantly. At least, that's what Buffett's saying. For Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to thrive, fiat currencies have to fail. Digital currencies find more acceptance in regions where fiat money is either not easily accessible or unreliable. Great examples are Venezuela and El Salvador. Most Venezuelans began to use Bitcoin when their national currency, the Bolivar, suffered hyperinflation and rose to unprecedented levels. The fact that Venezuelans considered Bitcoin, an inherently volatile asset, to be a stable alternative shows how severe the situation was. In El Salvador, it was a completely different scenario. Unlike most countries, El Salvador has no currency and adopted Bitcoin as its legal tender to replace the US dollar. It was a decision that would lead to mostly disappointing results. Nevertheless, Bitcoin believers still argue that the digital currency is superior to fiat currency because it has limited supply. Bitcoin has a supply of 21 million, while fiat currencies have unlimited supply, with central banks being able to print as much as they see fit. The flaw of an unlimited supply is that it would lead to loss of value through inflation. Since Bitcoin's supply is mathematically restricted, it is shielded against inflation and considered to be a more secure currency. But security is not what Buffett seeks. In truth, he would not bet against the US dollar because it would be foolish for him to do so. Capitalists and industry moguls like Buffett have huge stakes in the dollar, which is the world's reserve currency. If it were to collapse, it would crush most of Buffett's fortune. His business empire is built on the US dollar. Imagine if the price of the dollar were to drastically fall below the South African rand. Buffett's billions would suddenly become millions, and that might be enough to give the billionaire a fatal heart attack. Is Warren Buffett right? A significant portion of Buffett's analysis of Bitcoin is accurate. In addition to the fact that Bitcoin is not a productive asset, there is no plausible explanation for the price of Bitcoin on any given day. On the other hand, it appears that it is too soon to dismiss Bitcoin as irrelevant. Although Bitcoin has not yet accomplished the fundamental tasks of currency, such as serving as a medium of exchange, a unit of account, or a store of value, this may change soon. If a sufficient portion of the world's population chooses Bitcoin as a currency, it has the potential to acquire actual worth rather than only a speculative value. In the end, it is the people, not the governments, who decide what becomes currency. For the time being, however, it is quite evident that a value investor such as Buffett would have no interest in Bitcoin transactions. Which investments are better? While Warren Buffett maintains his stance about Bitcoin, he picked two assets he believes are better than crypto. Farmland. Buffett is known as an agricultural investor, but his advice to invest in farmland is extremely valuable. Farmland, he pointed out, is a tangible asset that produces food. Basically, it builds value and can be considered a productive asset. If you said, for a 1% interest in all the farmland in the United States, pay our group $25 billion, I'll write you a check this afternoon, Buffett says. But while $25 billion might be within the reach of Buffett's pockets, you do not need that much to invest in U.S. farms. Publicly traded real estate investment trusts that specialize in owning farms, such as Gladstone Farms and Farmland Partners, allow you to do so with just as much as you can spend. Apartments. In addition, apartment buildings are another asset that Buffett would be interested in purchasing if the price was right. If you offer me 1% of all the apartment houses in the country and you want another $25 billion, I will write you a check. As the famed investor puts it, it's very simple. People continue to require a place to live regardless of whether the economy is thriving or in a recession. Moreover, as the cost of real estate continues to rise to levels that are unattainable in many regions of the country, many individuals have found themselves with no other choice but to rent. You always have the option of purchasing an apartment building on your own, finding tenants, and collecting the rent checks every month. Preferably, you can invest in apartment-focused real estate investment trusts. Warren Buffett is unarguably the greatest investor of all time, which makes his refusal to sow seeds in crypto extremely shocking. At the time Buffett made his comments about Bitcoin, the asset traded for $38,000. Although it has since fallen from that price, some might argue that it would be wiser for Buffett to hedge his wealth using Bitcoin. Nonetheless, his portfolio remains unshakable with or without Bitcoin. As Buffett himself has said in the past, investment tactics do not work for everyone. Buffett's multi-billion-dollar net worth ensures his anti-Bitcoin stance has little effect on his wealth. The same cannot be said for a millionaire or amateur investor, so do your own research. Thanks for watching. We hope you gained value. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Until we meet again, bye!